cost of living crisis, we're all looking for ways to save money, aren't we? Every penny counts, and I find it fascinating now that even with the onslaught of coupons and apps and things like that, there's no real bargains to be had. It doesn't matter what you do, seemingly, the person who's selling always comes out on top. That is unless, of course, you are deciding to come to London and possibly use some of the London Transport System, otherwise known as TfL, Transport for London. It appears, thanks to them, that London could indeed be London for free. As ever, let me explain. Hi, good morning, Neil Sean here. Nice to see you. Hope you're keeping well today. This particular story really did kind of shock me in many respects because, as I said in the intro, we're all trying to save money. And for those that are coming over here in the coronation period, it is very expensive. The tube over here, I believe, is as expensive, if not more so, than the Paris subway and the subway over in New York City and obviously certain parts of the United States. Don't know why, because the service seemingly is not much better. But while talking to quite a few members of Tube staff recently, I was alarmed to see how many people simply walked through the gates, pushed their way through the gates, jumped over the gates without paying. And I asked the staff exactly what the procedure was regarding this. Fascinating find, so I wanted to share this with you. You see, TfL, Transport for London, lose millions of pounds every year to fraud. People faking tickets, but more importantly, simply walking through without paying, having the gumption, some might say, the gall to just push past, slide behind you as you put your card through the system, or indeed tap, as we all have to do now. But where does that person who doesn't pay, where does it all go to? Well, seemingly us, the law-abiding citizen, you and me. We're simply paying for those people. But the bigger picture is this, and this is one that's truly fascinating, because none of the staff are allowed to apprehend those people pushing through. They're not allowed to stop them, touch them, demand to see their ticket. They simply have to let it happen. Couldn't believe this when they told me. And I said, well, what about if you could apprehend someone? They said, pointless, because by the time the British Transport Police arrive, they've gone off. So it's a waste of time doing it. Now, when you think about this, over here in London right now, we've had endless strikes by these particular individuals who've been requesting, whether they are right or wrong, more money for working on those particular services. Each time, though, that you go through into these now non-serviced areas of London Underground, where all the ticket offices are, there's simply groups of staff stood around playing on their phones, seemingly not even interested in the customer who requires help. And I'm not being unkind, I have that particular footage. But it's fascinating to note, isn't it, that when we put a call into City Hall, the home of the London Mayor, they don't want to know. They didn't get back. And even when I finally spoke to someone, they said it's not an issue we're prepared to discuss right now. Fascinating. So next time you do come to London, I'm not advocating this, but just think about this. Every time you see somebody pushing through that tube without paying, then seemingly, yes, someone is paying, but it's normally you. And obviously, many of the tube staff working there would like to apprehend people. I'm sure they would. But they've been told by the people in charge, don't bother, it's not worth it. Seemingly, of course, one way or another, TfL can keep demanding money from the government, but more likely, you and me, the taxpayer. As ever, I'd love to know if this is a similar operation in your part of the world. And if you live in London or come to London, what do you think to the way that this is now operating? Is this all because we've removed people of authority, people that look respectful in reasonable uniforms? Made it all so died down that actually you're not quite sure who are the staff and who are the alleged customers? Either way, let me know what you think to this story in the comments below. Neil Sean in the very heart of London.